Ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful day. The biggest head case of 2023 has been officially released. Michael Thomas is no longer gonna be a part of the New Orleans Saints. Will he miss the beignets? And it's gotten so bad where he is losing his mind on social media, like he lost his mind previously on social media about quarterback Derek Carr.
An injured player tweeting about your quarterback during the game. I ask this as respectfully as I can. Do you have a problem with that? Is it, at some point, do you think that player needs to be advised or whatever that that's not what should be happening?
Yeah, we'll keep that. We'll keep that in-house, but I guess I was made aware of that last night.
We are traveling in the beautiful Oakland, California right now. It's a beautiful day in the Bay Area and a beautiful day for Derek Carr news. Breaking news occurred on Thursday, March 7th. Michael Thomas is set to be released. Jeff Duncan of NOLA.com wrote about this and reported this. He's going to come in handy in just a little bit. Jeff Duncan's key phrase is that it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. The Saints are going to release Michael Thomas before the new league year starts. We're going to get into his contract in a bit, but we all saw this coming the moment that he sat on IR on his couch at home in week 13 while the Saints played the Detroit Lions, and this guy decided to go on social media, talk trash about Derek Carr, criticize Dennis Allen and the whole entire Saints organization during the game. During the game, while his teammates are putting their bodies out there on the line, he was saying negative things on social media, trying to bring morale down for the team because he was not happy about where his career had gone. And remember, previously, right when Derek Carr signed with the New Orleans Saints before the 2023 season, Michael Thomas was ecstatic. He was even on social media saying, "Thank you, Jesus." Super stoked for the opportunity to catch slant routes from Derek Carr. And that is what Michael Thomas was most famous for historically. Red zone threat, catching the ball inside the numbers, in traffic, the slant route, slant God. We all heard about it. And it is sad to see him go out this way. 2019, he was the offensive player of the year. He put up historic numbers for the New Orleans Saints, and then he got a fat contract after putting up those historic numbers. Coincidentally, it was around the same time he started having injuries, and the dude just never really played. He never really played games, especially over the past 3 years. It was just a ritual. You just expected it every year for him to go on IR, and it kind of rubbed Saints fans the wrong way because the guy was cashing checks the whole time and just not able to compete, not able to be healthy. Is it his fault? Is it somebody else's fault? Who knows? We know he had a lot to say this past year. In addition to criticizing Derek Carr's play and the culture that the Saints have with Dennis Allen, he also blamed Carr for his injuries, claiming that he would have had over 1,000 yards had Derek Carr not thrown hospital balls. And Carr even had to respond to this on a podcast recently.
Tell you like, hey bro, you set me up, you screwed me. The rest of the season was shot because of you.
No, I will answer that. And there was times during the season where he'd be frustrated or this or that, and I wouldn't, tweet about it. I would just call him, and I'd just be like, look, bro, like this is what it is, bro. We're grown men. We can talk about anything. And every time that, I went on there and, talked to him, there was times where I went at him and confronted him about something and said something. And he probably, over time, with all the frustration, grew to not liking that. Just tried to tell the truth in love. And sometimes people don't like it, But, I hope Mike finds what he's looking for. I hope he gets everything he wants in life, because I do love Mike. But at that moment, I didn't really like it. I was like, you just call me, bro. To say this, to say all these things, like, I felt like it was like we're doing like some middle school thing, man. Just talk to me.
Obviously, after you criticize the franchise quarterback, and by the way, this isn't the first time that Michael Thomas has criticized the franchise quarterback of the Saints. More on that in a little bit. We all saw this release coming, but the one thing that we did not see coming is Michael Thomas calling people hoes on his way out. This is some juicy stuff. So we mentioned Jeff Duncan, the man who reported the news that Michael Thomas is set to be released. Well, Michael Thomas seems like he's not too happy with Mr. Jeff Duncan posting a picture of this guy. Look at this clown. Y'all think he know ball, right? Y'all really clicking links to what he write? Laugh emoji, hashtag good luck. Michael Thomas, what are you doing right now? Not only do you have injury problems, not only did you criticize Derek Carr on social media claiming that he got you injured with hospital passes, But now, on your way out, when you could say thank you to New Orleans, thank you to the Saints fans, thank you to the organization for giving me a shitload of money while I sat on the couch because unfortunately I was injured, rather than doing that, you are talking shit on reporters and posting pictures of them. I mean, you're posting a picture of the guy. He technically had to save this picture on his phone and then post it. He's not only posting pictures of the guy, instead of saying thank you to New Orleans, he's also calling the guy a hoe, calling him a hoe. Jeff Duncan is a hoe, trying to stay relevant, so let's speak on it. The Saints leak information to him to try to ruin players' value, but see, I'm not broke, so I could speak on it. He is broke, so he needs clicks. Go look at all his articles. That never ended up being true. Never ended up being true. This is actually getting a little crazier. Does Michael Thomas think that Jeff Duncan's lying here and he's not going to be released? Somebody's got to call this guy and let him know what's going on. I don't know if Drew Brees is going to be the one to call this guy. He says positive things about Michael Thomas, but remember, back in the day when they had the kneeling during the anthem thing, Drew Brees gave his opinion on it and said, hey, during the anthem, I think you should stand. I'm not really cool with that. Gave his own opinion, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, whatever. But around that time, Michael Thomas went on social media criticizing Drew Brees, criticizing the franchise quarterback. Sure, there's no problem with Michael Thomas having a disagreement with the guy over this, but do you really want to air out all this dirty laundry publicly? So we should not have been surprised when we saw Michael Thomas air out him and Derek Carr's dirty laundry publicly in 2023. Another banger about Jeff Duncan, Michael Thomas said, Jeff Duncan, funny how they planning on releasing me if I was on a one-year deal, laugh emoji, don't fall for it. He the same dude that tried to be my friend in season after saying I wasn't the same player in training camp. Well, if he said that you weren't the same player in training camp, unfortunately, Michael Thomas, I think he was correct. The crazy thing about Michael Thomas and the Saints last year is, unfortunately for Michael Thomas, the Saints got better after he was on the couch. A.T. Perry looked magnificent towards the end of the season. And in the beginning of the season, while Michael Thomas was on the field demanding the ball, upset that he doesn't always get the ball because I'm sorry, dude, you're not 25 anymore. Chris Olave is the star. But around that time, despite being targeted a team high 9 times by Carr in the red zone, he only caught 1 touchdown. Part of the reason why there were some red zone issues, I know Saints fans don't want to hear this, some of them who love Michael Thomas, but part of the reason is because they were forcing the ball to Mr. Can't Guard Mike. And I don't know what's really going on here with him talking about this tweet. He's kind of not writing correctly. I'm not sure how good of a writer Mr. Michael Thomas is, but based on these past 2 tweets that we've showed you so far, it looks like he's denying the report. It looks like he is in denial about the fact that New Orleans is moving on from the guy. And I think that this is kind of sad. The dude has sabotaged himself. Not only is he beefing with his teammates, not only is he airing out dirty laundry on social media, but just this past year, let's not forget, he also beefed with construction workers who were parking outside his home.
4th time after you threaten me, no, people are gonna have to know like what kind of person you are, because that's wrong. You don't go around doing, I don't care who you are.
And even threw a brick at their vehicle. What kind of nut job is this guy? So if you are a construction worker around Michael Thomas in New Orleans right now, watch out. He's very angry. And at one point, he really was one of the best offensive players in the entire NFL, especially in that 2019 season. I don't think it's fair to just give Drew Brees and Sean Payton all the credit. I could be negative. I could lay into the guy and say that. But at one point, he was a dynamic playmaker in the NFL. It just seems like injuries got to the guy. And then in addition to that, he was known as a diva around the building. He was known as a guy who always has a little mood and an attitude. And if I had to guess, if I had to assume, I would say that perhaps the injuries started to frustrate him. The fact that he was not available started to frustrate him, and it led to him lashing out. It led to him having this type of negative attitude. The big question is, where will Michael Thomas go in 2024? Previously, he had suggested that he's going to go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Super Bowl champions need an aging diva wide receiver who's always posting some shit on social media. I don't think it's going to happen. For the New Orleans Saints, I do believe they're going to move in a more positive direction with their wide receiver core. A.T. Perry looks to fill that role that Michael Thomas had. And at this moment, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are the main starters at the wide receiver position. So good for the New Orleans Saints getting younger at wide receiver. Thomas's contract was reworked in a certain way where the Saints were definitely going to have to make a decision on him by the new league year, whether they rework it or release him. Looks like now it's going to be a release. So how much are they going to eat up? How much are the Saints going to lose because of this? The Saints are always in cap hell, so this is going to be bad for them. That just shows how toxic this guy is, that they're willing to lose money. $11 million in dead money this year, and then $9 million next year. You're only saving $1.2 million releasing the guy as it stands right now, according to Spotrac.com. That's what's going to happen for the New Orleans Saints, eating a ton of cash. That tells us a lot about how much of a cancer this guy really is in the locker room, and it makes you think, what could the Saints have done last year if he wasn't there? If he wasn't there being a head case, maybe the Saints win a couple extra games and win the division. They literally were one game away from winning the division against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see if more cancers leave the Saints locker room. I'm thinking a certain guy who likes to eat W's is next. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel for more NFL content from me, Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.